Salute. Oh, what was that? Cheers, I heard. I appreciate it. 1,000 subscribers. I finally made it. Um, and this show, to be honest, as much as it is about me, it's really about you guys, and this is why I tried to get everybody on, as many people on as possible. Because I couldn't have did it without you guys, and I definitely couldn't did it without the chat. So shout out to the chat. Yo Black is time. It's gonna get a little sentimental for about 5-10 minutes, while while I talk to these guys and thank them, and then we're gonna talk some Knicks, and definitely come back on Monday, because Monday I'm gonna do the giveaway for some lucky fan in the chat. So John Starks autographed T-shirt next Monday. I'm gonna figure out the logistics of how I'm gonna pick the random fan, but yeah, that'll be Monday. But welcome, Sim, Queen, Ron, Uncle Fulio. Um, thank you guys for joining, and yeah, appreciate you guys for being here.
Yeah, man. I thank you for inviting me, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I can't get the smile off my face. I thought I was gonna be cool, calm, and collective, but yeah, I'm trying to keep a straight face. But yeah, I did it. I'm here. I made it. I'm gonna start with Sim. Obviously, the Podfather. We don't call you that for no reason. You motivated me. We talked behind the scenes before I even had a microphone or a computer. I was watching you on the phone, and motivated me to go ahead and get started. I procrastinated a lot, but you kept saying, man, go ahead, man, don't just get started. Once you start, you know what I mean, that's, you know what I mean, you keep it moving from there. So the first thank you, the first flowers was definitely to you, because yeah, motivation, man, and watching you was motivation in itself, let alone the talks and the things behind the scenes. So thank you,
Appreciate that.
off the jump.
Yeah,
uh
I'm excited for you, man. Just saying, you know, just watching you grow as you're making more content. You know what I mean? Putting great content out there. So I'm a fan of yours. And
Shoot,
watch you grow. Everybody here on the panel, I'm a fan of. You know what I'm saying?
Not me, y'all. Not me. Not me.
Yeah, that's my nemesis. But no, I'm joking.
Oh, Freezy, welcome aboard. Appreciate you joining.
Man, I'm glad to be here, man.
Like I was just telling everybody, I got the 1,000. I titled it "We Got the 1,000" because it really is us. We did it.
Yo, you hit 1,000 subscribers?
I finally did, man. I finally
Man,
did.
congratulations, boss.
Thank you.
Yo, man, listen, man, I'm mad proud of you, bro. You've been grinding, man. Yo, congratulations, man. All the hard work paying off, bro. Man, I'm so excited for you, bro. I'm so excited for you, man.
Appreciate you. But again, the point of tonight is not even about me. I titled it "We Made It" because it really was us. Like you guys on the panel, everybody in the chat. I couldn't have did it without you. I just gave Sim his flowers. Um, and I, since you here and you talking, I'll jump right into you, because you was a day one, or at least an early member of the community, watching Sim's channel, and your channel didn't start. Your channel started after me already talking and thinking about putting mine into motion. You know what I mean? So you want to talk about motivation? I seen what you did, being consistent, um, maybe overly consistent. You know what I mean?
Grinding.
You was cornering the market. You was like, yo, Sim go off. I'm rocking all night long. Next thing you know, you say I'm rocking in the morning too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
the grind and the consistency is definitely what got you where you got to. And motivation for me, and you've always encouraged me along the way, always shouted me out anytime I'm on the channel. You tell your viewers, check out Knicks and Bruises. Here's the link. Here's this.
And
So
we'll always do that. And we'll always do that. And we'll always
appreciate
do
you.
that. Yeah, always
Appreciate
do
you.
that, man. And I don't feel, man. Listen, man. I don't do that just because I feel like something should be reciprocated. Man, I do that, man, because I generally love you and the panelists, everybody here, man. I love y'all as people and appreciate y'all, the stuff that y'all do. So anytime I could do anything, bro, I'm more than like, I feel obligated, like I gotta do it. Like if I don't do it, then I'm letting y'all down or something, man. I feel like y'all support each other and support me and support this Knicks community so much that I feel like, man, if I'm hustling for myself, man, I gotta hustle for my peoples too. Y'all know the vibe. I ain't gotta say that in public because y'all know that. I'll tell y'all that in private. Y'all know that.
Listen, man, I appreciate you, bro. I'm gonna jump back up to the top to Josh. I told Josh behind the scenes, yeah, I got something for you tonight, and he sounded like a little worried. He's like, "Oh boy, I don't want to get into this back and forth about such and such topic, or whatever." But he didn't know what I was talking about was yo, you was my first 1,000 viewed video. You know what I mean? So my videos, I was getting 100 here, 300 here, whatever, 600. I'm excited, but you was it was my out episode, Knicks and Bruises. You know what I mean? Where you gave your Knicks and Bruises over the years. That was the one that hit 1,000, and it took me a minute to hit 1,000 again. So I was like, I'm like, oh, maybe Josh is the formula. Like let me find out what's going on. But got you back on, and it did well. But obviously, over time I started hitting that 1,000 mark again, which um is great to do. And but yeah, you was a part of my journey, man, a big part of it. Like I won't forget that. I remember what it meant to me at the time, and I know you was a big part of that happening.
Yeah, man, I'm proud of you. I'm proud. I'm really proud that you got to this milestone. And there's a lot more milestones to come. Definitely a lot more milestones to come, and I'm looking a part of being that journey moving forward as well. So congrats, Tony. Congrats, man.
Appreciate you. I'm gonna go to my co-host on the Queen's Court. She came in, the MBK fam, out of nowhere and took the spotlight. You know what I mean? Like came in and dominated with her presence.
Yeah.
Dominated with her takes. Unapologetic. But still, level headed, open minded. She'll come back the next episode and say, "Hey, I kind of agree with what you said last week or last episode." Even though I didn't then, but again, my co-host on the crossover, I didn't have a show on MBK. She had Queen's Court. She could have just kept rocking, doing her Queen's Court thing, and she came to me and said, "Hey, let's do a show together," which was my opportunity to have a my cross branding, and was there faithfully every day. You know what I mean, and on Knicks and Bruises as well every day. So it was almost like we had two shows together. To be honest, Queen, appreciate it, appreciate it, and don't think that I don't know that I haven't been on your Dope Soul Sports Talk, which everybody needs to go subscribe to right now. If you could throw that link in there, Sim, please do that. I haven't been there as faithfully as you have been for me, and you never mentioned it, but don't think that I don't know that. I'm lacking, so I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there moving forward, and thank you.
Muted Queen.
Yeah, I don't really see it that way. But listen, is easy to be on your show because we just have that vibe. I mean, I have good energy with everybody on this panel, but I don't know. We just, we just hit it off, and it was easy. Um, and when I came to you about a show, I was thinking it would be on your channel, and you had the idea of, no, let's do it on. Let me ask him. Let's do it on MBK because I don't have a presence there, and it was fun. I got to be honest, it's fun. Like the crossover initially, I was like, wow, this is a lot of work trying to get content, but over time it just became really really easy. Congratulations to you. You deserve it. Um, you're balanced in your takes, but you're emotional as well, and I like that because I'm kind of like that myself. So I appreciate that about you. And as far as my channel is concerned, I really believe in my heart of hearts, if you weren't working on Tuesday nights, you would be there. So I'm not. I don't worry about that. How I do it, my perspective is when I can make it, I can make it. When I can, I can't. And I feel the same way about everybody else. If you can make it, you can make it. And if you can't, you can't. So I appreciate you. Congratulations. And this is just the first of many thousands.
Appreciate you. And I mean, I got more responses, but I'm not trying to get emotional. So Mr. Ron, still Knicks fan.
I'm blown.
Another guy, came out of nowhere, but the chemistry, off the bat, like from the event, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Shout out to the draft party, the first annual draft party. That's where we met. You know what I mean? And you told me then, yo, I'm a fan of your show. You knew who I was, and this is what I'm doing. But it stood out because I'm like, I'm not used to that. You know what I mean? I'm used to being on the other end of watching people and getting the motivation from, and yeah, man, I watched you skyrocket out the blue. You and the whole team, Ron, John, and Jose in the back. You know what I mean? Can't forget Jose in the back. But yeah, oh yeah, I did that thing, and I ain't even gonna mention Kai. So, but hey, I watched what you've done since that, and I watched, you know what I mean, your vision of where you trying to take it, and your vision for your show is way beyond where I'm even trying to reach. You know what I mean? Like this is really just fun and a hobby for me. So salute to you with the goals. Hope you reach them, and you on your way because you doing everything you got to do to get there. And appreciate all the motivation along the way for myself, man. And thank you for being here as well.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate being here, being able to celebrate with all you guys, Tony. Listen, I always say, quiet as kept. I feel like you are one of the people who can really put a dent in this game. Now, I know you got stuff going on personally, your work schedule and everything kind of conflicts with some of your moves, but see, this is what makes it so great. And I don't know if everybody understands out there that watches you. You put together, some of the greatest content in our Knick community, and you've been rocking for a minute. That's why people, love jumping on your show. People want you on their shows. That just the way you give it up, the way you talk, and also the way you think about this Knick franchise. But what people don't get is that Tony does this, but and this is not a knock on Tony. He just don't have the time with everything else he got going on. Tony's not giving you full Tony. If Tony wanted to go, Tony don't even advertise. He don't go on Twitter. He don't go on Instagram. I'm everywhere doing all types of stuff. Tony don't do none of that. He got 1,000 subscribers. You know what I mean? If Tony put in that extra work, Tony would be killing the game. I'm just saying this is just a testament to your platform and what you're doing and how we appreciate you, bro. You got, I'm not saying like you didn't try, but I'm saying it's like you got to 1,000 subscribers without even trying. Be like, you doing it, brother. So I guess the only thing I would say is everything that I'm trying to do or what we're trying to do is still Knick fans. you're right there with us, man. You are going to be doing that eventually, and as soon as things may open up a little bit, and you got a little bit more free time, you're going to be doing more and expanding on your platform. It's just it all takes time, but from what I've seen and what you're continuing to do, sky's the limit, dude. You're just gonna keep skyrocketing, bro. And that's why I'm happy to be here, and I want to be here for the ride, man. As you grow, I know I'm right behind you somewhere.
I don't know about behind me, but you could be right there along for the ride as well. Damn man, I might have to clip what you said and put that on a voicemail somewhere and just listen to that, because not only are you right, but I've heard it from so many people randomly. You know what I mean? I don't advertise on any of the platforms that I should. I'm not active like I should. There's reasons for it, but you're 100% right, and I know that would make a huge difference. And believe me, I still tried. I wanted to get here sooner, but I've never been ashamed of a slow grind and getting where I want to get ultimately. And again, thank you all for joining, and thank you for the patience for this segment. You know what I mean? But I definitely wanted to give you guys the flowers and tell you thank you, rather than saying, hey, I did it. You know what I mean? Like, look at all my hard work, because there's times I didn't want to come on, and Queen said, "Hey, come on, let's just do an hour. Let's do a half hour," and it ends up being an hour and 35 minutes. So you know what I mean? Just because now we into the conversation. Now we just talking about what we love to talk about. Definitely shout out to the chat. I think I got my first super chat ever.
First two, you got your first two.
I got two. Somebody pull up the first one, please, so I don't miss it.
I think they're starred.
All right, hold
Yeah,
up.
I'll start them for you. I got
there you go.
it.
Parrish Duggar, $5. Appreciate you. Congratulations. Appreciate you, bro. And like I said, next week I'm shouting you guys out. I know I'm gonna forget somebody, because I can't even think of like 1,000 names to say. But anybody I miss, it's not intentional. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to be as random as possible, is how I figure out who wins this jersey, and how I mean this t-shirt, and how I get it to you, because your thank yous are coming. But Paris Thugger, thank you for sure. And then the MVK fam official member, the residential panelist on Dope Soul Sports Talk and Queens Court, Mr. Iron Jarrell. And let's not forget, recently started his channel,
Die Hard Giants in the building.
Die Hard Giants. There we go. So again, go hit up the Die Hard Giants channel, like it, subscribe it. My brother, appreciate you. Definitely have been a part of my journey as well. Mostly in the chat, but then I got to experience you on Queens Court and Dope Soul Sports Talk as well. And I'm looking forward to watching your Giants channel. Thank you for sure.
Tony, and I also did. I was looking down a lot because I was on my phone. I'm not as quick as Freezy. Freezy be doing that quick, man. I was also putting the blast out there on Twitter for people to come check the show out, because I know you don't advertise, so I try my best.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate it, and I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna have to, sit down with my daughter and figure out how much it's gonna cost for her to be my social media marketing.
She pockets up.
Yeah,
man.
But now that I can monetize, maybe she'll see some money coming in, and right. Light bulb come off, and she want to take control of that. Let's talk some Knicks. So I got a couple questions. We're gonna keep it maybe another 20 minutes and get you guys out of here. I know it's late. So first off, let's talk about the RJ Barrett extension. Your thoughts on it, and then if you've seen the presser, your thoughts on that. I'm gonna let you go second, Josh, just because I already know what you're gonna say. We're gonna
Can I go
start with
last?
that.
Can I go last, please? I just want to go last.
Even better, even better.
Yeah, I got.
Even better.
Go ahead.
We'll go with Sim, Queen, Ron, Freezy, and then Josh.
Yeah, I didn't have any specific thoughts about it,
The
really.
presser or the press conference, you mean?
The you know, it
Or
wasn't
the interview.
the interview, or the Monica McNutt interview. You know what I mean? I didn't really have any specific thoughts. Um, you know, I'm just more concerned with how he's feeling coming into the season. You know, and I think he feels, and the reason why I'm concerned about that is because of, you know, his name being mentioned in trade talks, things like that. You know, hopefully he just understands that this is part of the game. You know, or professional basketball, you're going to be mentioned. You may be in negotiations, things like that. And, you know, he was able to put it to the side and say, hey, I'm here. You know, I'm coming in and play my hardest for the city and for this team. You know what I mean? So that's really my biggest concern, is that, you know, he doesn't have, I want him to have a chip on his shoulder, kind of like, okay, you guys were thinking about trading me because there was a player better than me. Well, let me show you what I can be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Not that he's mad at the front office, but still, just let me prove to you that you don't want to trade me. You know what I mean? So I want him to have that kind of chip on his shoulder. But uh, I think he's happy he's still in New York. I think the fans and the Knicks are happy that he's still in New York. So
Just to play off that, I was gonna go absolutely last, but just to play off that, you know, he can still have that chip on his shoulder, and if anything, if nothing else, it proves it opened that door. He knows what the business is about. He knows, you know what I mean? Like he knows there was a real shot of him getting traded. It's not like years past with maybe not something he's experienced, but years past where, you know, such and such name is in a rumor, such and such name is in a rumor, but there's no validity to it. There was validity to this, you know what I mean? So he understands that this is a business, and I'm sure he understands moving forward that he can be moved. He's not safe. You know what I mean? So, and that goes to, I'm sure he knows there's validity to Randall, the attempt to move Randall, even after, you know, a superb year and then a very subpar year. So he understands that it's a business now. So now it's really about him and what motivates him. So I think he can have that chip to really just be the best that he can be, and then everything else, the prayer, or just control what you can control. You know what I mean? The other stuff is out of your hands.
right.
But I agree. Queen,
Muted.
you muted. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I was happy he was re-signed, especially at the amount they were able to sign him at. And I think, I'm hoping, I don't know if you want to call it a chip, but whatever it is, that he's motivated to play his best. I mean, he would basically have to play lights out to not be mentioned in a trade, going. You basically have to be a franchise player at this point. Um, but even if that's not the case, I expect him to play extremely well this upcoming season. It was good to hear at the what I like to call the season ticket owners media event that he was able to talk about what he's working on, and it was all of the things that we talk about: being able to create off the dribble, finishing better, free throw shooting. Like, I'm like, wow, okay. At least he knows, what it is. And there's no doubt in my mind he's been putting in that time over the course of the off season, and it's just a matter of being able to do it at a proficient level during the season. And so I'm rooting for him, quite frankly. And let's see. I mean, Brunson, RJ, Randall. If we're gonna have a good season, it's those three guys right there.
Fair enough. Um, Ron.
Hey man, I'm trying to like. Should I just give you a short, concise answer, or should I give you what I want to say?
Say what you want to say, bro. That's why you here. You know what I mean? That's why the show's successful, because you say what you mean. You know?
All right. I'm happy they signed him to the extension. You know, I love RJ. He's my favorite, player on the Knicks. It's, I'm a fanboy. It is what it is. I expect a lot from him this season. So I'm hoping that it pays off and all the stuff he's been working on. We haven't seen a lot of RJ's workouts and the stuff he's doing. So I'm expecting him to be a much better all-around player this year and have less stress on him, even though people think he should have more stress on him because he just got paid and he's got to live up to some expectations. But I think he's going to play fast and free with Brunson being there. The only thing that I will say is, even though I know this was like a nice, feel-good, fan-friendly media event, or should I say non-media event, I really kind of wasn't feeling it. I'll be honest. One, I thought it was short as hell. I don't think I've ever seen a Knick presser when you're talking about a player and you're interviewing the player that's this short. That was kind of wild. Two, John was flipping because he was mad at how poor the camera filming was being done. Like they put one camera up there filming RJ and Monica. They're introducing the brass. They're not showing the brass. This is a fan-friendly event. Then you're not showing the fans. Like, I don't know. He was upset about that. So that I thought was not the greatest look. The other thing is, to be quite frank, I just think that they did a poor job of giving the fans and the people watching a little something. RJ is one of the best, most well-spoken people we have on this team. He handles himself with class and a certain level of dignity. I would love to have a couple more questions to kind of dig in a little deeper into what RJ's psyche is, how he feels about last year, what he feels about the team going forward. What can we do to improve? What am I working on that I really need to take our game to the next level? What's the benefits from Jalen Brunson being here, having a true point guard? How can me and Julius benefit? Like, this is not bashing questions like you worried about the regular media coming in. It's not about Donovan Mitchell and stuff. This is just stuff about our guy on our team who's getting paid and is one of the leaders. Going forward, he's going to be looked at. If not the guy, he's going to be one of the guys. So you like to be able to understand what he thinks about the game and how he's looking at things. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. But I disagree. I don't think he's that well spoken. I mean, even in the questions that he was asked, I don't think.
Did you hear him speaking French?
No, he wasn't speaking French. Like,
no, I'm just joking. Not tonight. I was just joking.
His answers was, he's not the most polished public.
You think you saying this interview, or you think that overall? Because I think overall, okay. Because I was gonna say, overall,
no, yeah, no, not this interview.
He's superb overall. Like he never gets caught up in a tricky question. You know what I mean? Like,
that's not what I mean. I mean, just when you ask people questions, their ability to articulate and elaborate, on the question. Like, to me, it was, I don't know, maybe he was nervous. It was just real shit. Like, I mean, the questions were powder puff questions, to your point.
Oh yeah. No, I'm saying I'm talking past this interview.
Yeah,
this interview, I agree.
This was just, I'm just happy to be in New York. I'm happy that they re-signed me, and let's go Knicks.
Yeah, my biggest problem was the length, but I agree with
and let me just say one thing real quick to what Steph's saying. I agree with you, Steph, but I think the fact that this thing was so short, it's just like a feel good. I'm gonna say blah blah blah, a couple things, and I'm out of here. And then he has like Leon Rose and Thibodeau and freaking Scott Perry looking at him like, he's just, I'm saying what I gotta say, and I'm out of here.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Media day. Yeah. That's fair. But I feel like they could have went without announcing it and make, you know what I mean? Like, they could have just put that out.
Right.
And we find it when we find it. You know what I mean? Like,
the thing is, there was probably maybe another hour spent there that we don't see.
Correct.
That's a fact.
Right.
Because he's took pictures with the ticket holders, and probably had a few conversations, like similar to like what we did with John Starks.
Right. Agreed. But again, I'm saying they didn't have to announce it. They could have just put that, you know what I mean, put the footage out and we find it. Like people was, waiting for that, looking for it.
Right.
And then I'm sure the consensus, like we're a pretty
Yeah.
well-rounded group. You know what I mean? If we were disappointed, I'm sure there were others.
You know what? You know why they
And
put it
we're
out?
coming upon Josh soon. So
Yeah. You know why they put it out, Tony?
why's that?
They're trying to sell season ticket memberships.
Fair enough.
So they put it out there, and if you was a season ticket holder, you'd be here.
Could have been here. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Because
Freezing.
it wasn't. Oh, I'm sorry, guy freezing.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. Y'all know I'm RJ Barrett #1 fan. I remember one night, man, who's Mark was yelling at me, screaming about. Was on a joint with on Nothing But Knicks with Sim, and we was talking about Joakim Noah pulling his pants down in the street, and I was like, yo, you know what would get rid of all this stuff? Just tank for RJ Barrett. Just get rid of all these dudes, all this nonsense, veterans, random veterans, doing all this stupid stuff. Just tank for RJ Barrett, and it'll solve everything. And I remember who's Mark screaming at me like, who is RJ Barrett? Who was there? This is like 2017. RJ Barrett had just scored 38 points in the U19 thing for Team Canada, beating all the top recruits, the top U.S. recruits in the nation. So when it comes to RJ Barrett, man, I have a long-standing love affair with this kid. I felt like he deserved the max. I felt like he deserved every 37.25 mil per season. But because not only what he does on the floor, but what he stands for as a Knick. Because everything that you, as a Knick, it's not about, your box score all the time. It's about what you represent and who you represent and where you represent them, right? Because Knicks fans for so long have not had a homegrown stand-up star to represent them on and off the floor. I felt like RJ Barrett was that. Is he still young and unpolished? Yes. The presser, he looked a little shifty in the presser, like, don't ask me hard questions. And then, like what Sim was saying, that the entire brass was standing there hanging on his every word to make sure he didn't say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All these different things to let you know that everybody is kind of, everybody knows we're at like this weird space of, what's next for this team. And if we don't get the results that the fans want, all of us can be out of here. RJ and that leadership group that was staring at him. Yeah. All of them can be out of here. So he's like on this weird thing, like, I gotta make sure that I put it on for my city. You know what I'm saying? And if you're gonna do that, bro, I felt like pay that man the max because he deserved it for what he represents on and off the floor. And I know people will be paid more money than him. Your Brunsons, Jalen Brunson, regardless of what we say Jalen Brunson does on the floor, Jalen Brunson is not a media darling. You saw his press conference. He was shiftier than Randall and RJ, looking down, looking away. Like the media attention is not his thing. RJ Barrett welcomed that. And he's been welcoming that since he was 19. When his name was called and him and his pops hugged, from that day, he started representing us. From that day before he got on the court, and when dudes was doing highlight dunks and dudes before him, teams was making the playoffs and having playoff success, and dudes are getting like Jordan brand endorsements and all this thing. Only thing RJ Barrett did was be rock steady and represent us. He ain't let us down yet. He might have had bad games, but in terms of the player himself, the person, RJ Barrett ain't let us down yet. You ain't seen RJ wrapped up in no craziness, no sideways stuff. He always been above board. As a matter of fact, the game that Obi Toppin had his breakout game, RJ dragged Obi out and sat with Obi while Obi addressed the media. And when Obi had a tough time answering questions, RJ Barrett was right there beside him, helping him answer questions. Would Julius Randle have done that? Would Elfrid Payton or Derrick Rose have done that? I don't think so. So when it came time for RJ to get paid, I was like, man, yes, I'm excited, right? Because somebody else got paid this summer, and you ain't heard a peep out of nobody. When Mitchell Robinson got his contract, You didn't see a press conference. You didn't see Mitchell Robinson doing. At least I didn't see Mitchell Robinson doing representing the Knicks and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was rumors abound. Is Spider coming? I'm glad we got Donovan Mitchell, but nobody mentioned anything about Mitchell Robinson getting $15 million a year. But with RJ Barrett, he sat there in an uncomfortable setting, and it looked like they just threw it together, just like what Ron was saying. Like, why they didn't show the brass? That's important for us to see them together. You know what I'm saying? To see them on the same page. They didn't even show that. They didn't even put the camera on them.
I mean, the pictures came out. The pictures came out.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say about that. I don't think he should have got the max, but I do appreciate everything you saying about him because I think that's true. And the number I threw out there, people thought was too high, but you have to be happy with what he got as far as the value we're getting for him, and he could potentially exceed that. As far as what he's worth and what we're paying him. So that's got to be a good thing from a at least from a team or a fan perspective.
Man, give that money to RJ because I don't give that money to RJ, man, because RJ is important. We were paying Rose $14 million, and Derrick Rose played up to right before Christmas last year.
Well, speaking of money, let me get these super chats. I miss. Deron Wayne, congratulations, Tony. Thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate the super chat as well. Appreciate you joining in. And Johnny Davis. I don't know if this is the Johnny Davis. If it is, you probably wouldn't be giving me $5, but I appreciate the congrats, bro.
Johnny Davis, don't you need to be in practice, Johnny Davis?
And yeah. I want to I think that's it. Josh, yeah, go ahead, let it out, bro. Let it out.
No, I mean, first thing I want to say, I think the contract was tremendous. I think it was a really good contract. I think the front office is doing a good job as far as how they're structuring the contracts moving forward, still remaining flexible. The MO has always been these 4-year deals, right? And the yearly average annual value of those contracts have always been in a reasonable kind of area. I like the fact that RJ Barrett got the number that he got as far as guaranteed money. And I like the fact that the incentives are going to take him up to $120 million. And I think, if he does reach his $120 million marker or that average annual value with some of those accolades that he'll get, he'll be looking at a max contract, a veterans, I think it's a veterans max or something like that, close to the end of the current contract he's going to get right now. And then that's Nick for life at that point. He's already been on the team for 3 years. This is going to be going on 4, and this contract for another 4 years kicks in next season or the following season. And then you're talking about adding another 5 years to that. That's 13 years in a Nick uniform if everything pans out and works out, right? So that's a career Nick. And I think this type of contract kind of incentivizes that track for RJ, particularly if he does show out and become an all-star and the team is successful in the regular season and in the playoffs. I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse as far as this, interview thing or whatever the case may be. I think most of everyone in the chat and on the panel knows how I feel about it. And Ron and Freezer hit on a lot of things that I was going to say. I wanted to hear more from RJ Barrett about, how he feels about this current roster going into next season. I wanted to hear how he felt about being in the Donovan Mitchell trade rumors. I think that's very important to the context of the whole thing that we're talking about in regards to the Knicks offseason. It just pains me that the organization is not more forthcoming and allowing the media to ask those questions because, people can say what they want about, well, this is RJ's interview, it's RJ's time. To me, I don't think having the media there takes away from that. Donovan Mitchell just, got traded to Cleveland. They had the whole press conference there. I don't think having the media there asking him tough questions took away from his day, right? And a lot of these questions that we still have, like instead of us speculating, I feel like, it would be better to hear stuff from RJ's mouth, being asked the tough questions. Listen, this is New York at the end of the day. And I think when the Knicks win and they become successful, a lot of those tough questions are still going to get asked. And I just would like to hear more from RJ's mouth instead of us speculating or looking at what Berman puts in the paper because we can't get the source directly from RJ or Leon Rose. And people, most of the fan base, some of the fan base not really believing what's in the report because they don't trust Berman. But if you're able to ask RJ those questions specifically during the press conference and he's able to answer them, whether he pleads with it or not, I still think you have to ask those tough questions. And you know, if RJ's a real dude, I think he'll answer them, and we'll get some of these answers that we don't have to speculate over. So that's just the way I feel about it. And I know a lot of people disagree about that, but that's just the way I feel about that overall.
Nah, I'm gonna take it easy on you. I'll say this.
Don't take it easy on him, bro. Don't take it.
I'll say this. There's a difference. Like Sim said earlier, media day is 2 weeks away. That's a time you can ask all, like, this is your time, media. It's called, your name is in the day. It's media day. Like, this is your time. Y'all can ask whatever y'all want to ask. Like, if they get restricted then, and if they're getting blocked in from even asking a question, then I understand. Then I'm with you. But right now, you know, like Queen mentioned earlier, this was a fan event, a season ticket holders event. Now, if a season ticket holder had that question and they didn't want to let it out, again, you could say something, but there's no reason for the media to be there.
Okay, so I just want to say this one last thing, and I know the retort's going to be coming strong. I already see Sim chomping at the bit, waiting to get at me over there. But I'll just say this:
you deserve to be get at.
I'm sure I do. But I'll just say this. And Sim said something earlier. You know, they broadcast it to everyone so that, you know, they can try to sell more tickets. The Knicks don't have an issue with selling season tickets. They don't have an issue with selling tickets at all. When the team is bad, fans still show up to the game. So I'll just say that's number one. Second thing that I'll say, it would have been okay for me if they would have had the season ticket holder event with just the season ticket holders and not broadcast it to everybody and do what you said. Maybe put the clips out and let it come out later. But to have this kind of show-all event, put it out on MSG for everyone to see when it's supposed to be a season ticket event, and then kind of cherry pick those questions, to me, I just don't. I believe in transparency, and I believe in that type of process from an organizational standpoint. I just don't agree with, because it just feels like the Knicks have something to hide, and cherry picking those questions, and that's just the way I feel about it. And it's not, hold on, real quick, Sam. It's not just about RJ. It's not just about Brunson, but I also would like to hear from the front office themselves and what their plans was going into the offseason, not just RJ and Jalen Brunson.
Right. I just feel like there's a time and a place for everything. You know what I'm saying? And you know, if that was a seat, now could they I would have liked to hear, like what Ron said, you know, some more things about that wasn't going to be about the trade and stuff like that. You know, his teammates, and, you know, going into the season, how he's feeling and stuff like that. But there's a time and a place for everything. And on media day, you're going to get all of that for almost every single player. And I'm willing to wait until media day for that to happen. And I still think, I know they sell out every game, but they're still they wouldn't be calling people to say, hey, we got these season ticket packages available if they weren't trying to sell those season ticket packages. You know what I'm saying?
Now, if you're not a season ticket member and you see this, you say, "Oh, I could have been there if you was on the fence, like, oh, I should buy the tickets. Maybe you know what I mean." Now you be like, "Oh, I could have been there if I bought the tickets."
Yeah, because they probably
buy them for the next one.
You know, the whole thing was probably 2 hours, 3 hours long. You know what I'm saying? But they broadcasted that part of it.
Again, I just think they should have just put the videos. You got real quick, Freeze. I just think they should have, instead of broadcasting it live, maybe have it on their channel. You know, like they do the other videos with the training and you know, stuff like that. I would rather see that rather than the whole, you know, fake press conference or whatever you want to call it. Because that's the way.
I got one more question for you guys, but if anybody has to leave, just let me know and I'll start with you. Just so you could
you mind if I throw something out just real quick? Just real quick. I promise it ain't gonna take nothing but a second. Yo, this whole thing to me is, y'all know I love the Knicks, right? I've been a Knicks fan for real. I mean, like, I declared my Knicks fandom in 1975, right? I'm a Knicks fan for real. But this right here, this looked like, yo, let's hurry up and throw something together because Donovan Mitchell is having a press conference in Cleveland. That's what this thing looked like to me. We got to be ahead of this negative publicity. We can't and that's why RJ was like, for real, what y'all want me to say now? These questions, okay, blase. That's what it looked like to me. So I agree with someone what Uncle Fulio was saying. I just don't like that Uncle Fulio always takes shots at Sim. Anytime somebody take a shot at Sim, it's like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, the production of it, I didn't think the production of it was great. They could have done a better job with the production of it. The idea of it, I don't have a problem with. The production of it, you know.
And you know what? In I don't want to, like, it's nitpicking for a reason, but if you really want to look at this, wasn't done well. Like Freezy pointed out something, and honestly, everybody should be thinking about that in the Knicks organization. You just did something with two players that you haven't done since Charlie Ward. This should have been the RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson extension press briefer. That's what it should have been. It should have been something like that, but it wasn't, because
instead of slapping his jersey up in the background, you see his jersey was hanging up in the background.
That's true.
That's fair.
The other thing I was going to say, I'm sorry, I just wanted to say this real quick. Shoot, don't forget, Ron. Don't forget.
Come on, old man. Come on, old man. Come on, old man.
Damn it.
You had it.
Think about it.
You had on Tony Crow.
I get to this super chat.
Go ahead, Tony. I'll remember by the time you finish.
Salute, Tony Crow. Congrats, my brother. Appreciate you. Always on here. And you know, thank you for the love, man. These moments, I wish these was like, you know, when you open a store and you get your first couple of dollar bills and then you put them up. I really wish I could put these joints on the wall and be like, yo, boom, I got this. I'm gonna work on figuring out, you know what I mean, a way to maybe screenshot them or something. So you know what I mean? But appreciate it.
I got it, Tony.
You know, but you know what? The relationship between the Knicks and Mitchell Robinson is weird. It's a weird relationship. I don't know what, but it's a weird relationship.
Well, why do you think that though, Sam?
I don't know. It's just, it seems like there's a disconnect between the Knicks and Mitchell Robinson. Yeah, they signed him and this and that, but it just always seemed like there was some. You look at, and not all players are, you know, playing in open runs and stuff like that, but for the most part, majority of the players that's been on the Knicks, your core players, have participated together in some kind of open runs or did some things. Mitchell Robinson is never that.
I think it's Mitchell Robinson though. I think he's the one that's kind of different, kind of weird.
Maybe
like he may not saying he don't love basketball, but he might love other things more than basketball, and basketball really is a job for him. You know what I mean? And that changes things for certain players. If you don't have the passion, that don't make it, you know what I mean? That's not a knock on you. That don't make you a bad person. You know what I mean? But some people, you know what I mean, go to work for the check and it's good money. You know what I mean? Not because that's what they love to do. And I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
That could be. It just feels like there's a disconnect between the two, kind of. The Knicks.
I think you're right, Sim. I think you know how they say Sims and Derrick Rose are both introverts, and you know, by far Mitchell Robinson is not an extrovert, but he's some other type of vert. You know what I mean? Like he's his own person. I feel like, honestly, Mitch is just a real dude, and that's not saying other people are fake, but he is just really a real dude. Like however he feels, that's who he is. He's when you talk to him with the press conferences or whatever media, he just comes out and says what Mitch wants to say. Like Mitch is just Mitch. And I think in some cases, maybe the Knicks just don't know how to curtail that. So they keep him away from certain things and they just let Mitch be Mitch. But also I think Mitch does like to be doing his own thing. He's always been that way.
I watched the Pivot. I'm not sure if you guys know what the Pivot is, the Ryan Clark podcast, which I think is a tremendous podcast where they interview, you know, random people from around the sports world or what have you. Ja Morant's the same way. Like, you know, all the big stars in the NBA, they typically have these runs together or they hang out with each other, like outside of basketball, you take trips or whatever. Ja Morant is the same kind of player. So I don't necessarily, and I'm not sure if some of you were hinting at it being a bad thing. I don't think that's what you're saying. But I think it's okay. I think it's okay if Mitchell Robinson's a little bit different, and I don't think that necessarily that it leads to some sort of disconnect between himself and the organization or his teammates. I think there are some players like that in the NBA.
Right, and I wasn't even saying anything about him being like Mitch is Mitch. You know, however, whoever he is, you know, he's you know his person. I just feel like between it's just a not even with Mitch's personality, just a disconnect between Mitchell Robinson and
You
the
may be right.
something there
You may
that
be right.
fully bond them together.
I hope not.
Oh,
But
so
he
Tony,
had
let
the
me
contract
say
now.
let me say this before I really do forget. I remember. I'm laughing. I keep smiling because people keep saying stuff in the chat. It said I got my forget everything I'm thinking about headphones on. So what I was gonna say to what Josh was saying, and I know, and I agree with Josh, and I also agree with Sim. Time and place. So I agree that the Knicks definitely need to open things up, and the media has to have their moment because, quite frankly, some of us do want to know certain things that just haven't come out yet. Two, I also, as I said, I would have loved to hear more about how RJ feels about the team and all that. But I agree with, Sim, time and place. And a good example of that is not to really get back into Donovan, but that Donovan Mitchell press conference, I think, was great, except for the fact that they asked him about the Knicks. I honestly didn't like it. I mean, yes, do I love the answer and something you want to hear and it leads you on to like, oh, there's more to this story that we all thinking, but I don't want to hear that. I just, welcome this guy and sent players and draft picks for Donovan Mitchell for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't want to hear about the New York Knicks at my introduction press conference. Like that could be at media day or something else. So that's why I agree with the time and place thing.
I feel you. I feel you. Let me get right into one of the only topic I really had on the board today. And I'm gonna start with Queen, Ron, Freezy, Josh, Sim. Do you think the Knicks lowered expectations? Um,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
do you think the lowered expectation that the Knicks are playing under, I'll say this coming season, do you think that could be used? They can use that to their advantage, or take advantage of it. And correct me if I'm wrong, because maybe other teams are looking at the Knicks different than the collective of the media world.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the expectations are pretty low. Um, I've always felt like that's a time where you can sneak up on some teams, similar to 2 years ago. There was no expectation for what we did. Even though we did exceed expectations, I kind of thought we did it too much. I would have liked for us to be around that 8 seed, 7 seed, 5th seed. I said it at the time. People thought I was crazy, but I knew the expectation coming into the following year was going to be so high, coming off of a 4th seed, that and knowing the team, the structure of the team, I didn't really think we could exceed it. Now I had good hope and expectation for Kimba if he was Kimba, and that changed some things. But I really feel like sometimes being that underdog puts you in that position to creep up on some teams and take advantage because they're not expecting you to be who you may become. What are your thoughts on that, and where do you think that the Knicks are as far as perception and then reality?
I mean, 2 seasons ago, I there's no way around it. You play to win. Like you can't be like, oh, we're gonna try to get the 8th seed because we don't want high expectations the next season. You just have to play to win.
That's not what I mean though. I don't mean tanking for positioning. I'm just saying if had we ended there, it would have been better for us. That's what I mean. I would never say position for
better for us in what way? Like a better draft pick or something, or better?
No, not even that. Just granted, we didn't do better. We didn't do what I thought we could do moving out of the 4th seed, but I would have preferred us being 8th seed, 7th seed, 6th seed, where now we can stride to improve. Where I knew improving upon the 4th seed was an unrealistic expectation. That's what I mean. So if we're the 8th seed, it's like, all right, yeah, we made it into whether the outcome was the same. We lost 3 games to 1 or 4 games, whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like the outcome is not what I'm talking about. I mean, just
Right.
that seeding put more expectation the following year. Had we been an 8th seed, then it's like, all right, maybe they're the 8th seed, maybe they're ninth, maybe they're not. You know what I mean? They just kind of made it in.
But
Let
we
us
didn't
grow.
finish outright as the 4th seed. We tied
Correct.
with 2 other teams, and the
Correct.
tiebreaker
You're right.
got us to the 4th seed. So
And
if we didn't win the tiebreaker, we would have been the 6th seed.
and that's why I was thinking the way I was thinking. We were only a half game, you know what I mean, above these guys. So
Right.
realistically, we lose one game, we put us back to 6. I thought that was better for our growth. I thought we skipped a step. You know what I mean? And now the expectation was higher. Instead of going from level 1 to level 2, we went from level 1 to level 4, and now
Right. But this is what I will
that's
say.
all I mean.
This is what I will say. There's a difference between the expectations of the fans and the expectations of the players in the Knicks organization. So maybe the fans, because we finished in the 4th, I don't know where we thought we was going to be after that championship content. Like, I'm not sure what we thought, but I'm sure for the players and the organization, they knew what it was. They knew that, it was a coin flip for them to be in the 4th place. You know what I mean? So I don't really think that the expectations were like high for the organization. They just wanted to get better, no matter whether they finish 4th, 5th, or 6th. This is what I see about this team. I think if we bring in Fournier, we bring in Kimmel, we bring in some more offense, which was, an Achilles heel for us, we should be better next season. I don't think they were like, oh, we finished in the 4th seed, now we got to try to finish number 2. They can look at that roster and tell they were not championship contenders. So I think that was more of a fan.
And I agree.
The second thing I'll say is I don't really think it matters. As a team, you're playing to win no matter what. Whether you finish, like, it's not like we finish 4th. Oh, it's so much pressure this year. If we finish 8th, no pressure. It's the same thing no matter where you finish. Every game you're going out there and you're trying to be better, especially a Tom Thibodeau type team. They're not going to be all over the place. They're going to be focused on the next task at hand. So I think as fans, maybe some fans felt like, oh, we were the 4th seed. We're a real good team right now. We're a championship contender. I didn't think that, I don't think a lot of us felt that, but some fans did. But I don't think the organization thought that at all. They knew what it was.
Well, the only part I think you're missing is, because I agree, as us, when I say us as the Knicks team, yeah, they're not gonna, they know who they are. Right. I'm saying the perspective of the opponent. Now, let's be honest. If an opponent thinks you're trash, they may party all night. They may not practice as hard. They may not look at the scouting report. That's what I mean when I say take advantage of lower expectation. So the perspective of the league, where do you think that is in comparison to where the team thinks they are?
See, I think any team like that, Tony, that's a losing franchise. Those franchises are losing franchises anyway. I think the winning culture, whether you've actually started to win or not, but teams with winning cultures, they're not looking at the Knicks. Oh, they the 4th seed, we got to be up. Oh, they was the 8th seed, we got to be. You know how you approach the game. But yeah, I would agree. There's some teams that will think like that, but those teams that's right.
I mean, that was the argument.
The game, regardless. That
was the argument from a lot of people in that 4th seed year. You know what I mean? It wasn't until the end of the year that people started saying, "Oh, you can't really play around with them." You know what I mean? But I think in the middle of the year and the beginning of the year, a lot of teams may not have they may have taken us lightly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sam. I'll jump to you, but I do want to welcome Guillermo. Thank you for joining. I'm gonna give you some flowers in a little bit, but we on a roll right now, and I know a couple of people gotta get out of here.
Yeah. I mean, I think as far as expectations for this season coming up, one, I don't think opposing teams are looking and feeling like, when they play the Knicks, it's going to be, we're just going to step over this team. I don't think anyone is looking at the Knicks that way. I think they know when they play the Knicks, it's probably going to be a tough game. They might look at it and say, yeah, we have a chance to win, but they know it's going to be a battle and they got to show up. So I don't think any team is looking at the Knicks in that manner.
Hope not.
You know what I mean? So, you know, when you talk about which puts the Knicks in a tough spot because no team is going to overlook them,
Right.
but do they have enough talent to, you know, beat the teams that, you know, beat these teams when they're not overlooking them? You know what I mean? That's what puts them in a really tough spot in a real tough Eastern Conference. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think, you know, the Knicks have enough talent and enough legitimate NBA players, which they didn't have a couple of years ago. You know what I mean? Legitimate NBA players where teams are going to say, hey, we got to come out here and ball because if not, we'll get beat. You know, so it does put this team in a tough spot. So I think, you know, I think the Knicks have going for them is going to be some, you know, familiarity with each other. You know, so many players being on this team for a few years now. I mean, when you look back at it, when you look at this team right now, over the past 10 to 15 years, when have we had this many players that's been on the roster together for this long? RJ, Mitch, and Randall's been together for this will be the 4th year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, without a turnover.
Right. IQ and Obi, this will be their 3rd year together.
Right.
Evan, Derrick Rose too. This will be his 3rd year. Right. This is Evan Fournier's 2nd year.
Mitch.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so I can't remember the last time the Knicks had so many players that's been together on a team. We'll see if that ends up being a positive for him, you know, and then you add Brunson, maybe he's a guy that can kind of glue it together. We'll see. But you know, it's gonna be tough for the Knicks in the Eastern Conference, man. It's gonna be tough because teams not gonna overlook them. And so I don't know if that the low expectations, you know, from outside of the team helps the Knicks because I don't think opponents are going to overlook them. So
it don't hurt. It don't hurt or hurt. It don't, or it may hurt. It don't help.
Right, exactly. I don't think they're going to surprise anybody. I think teams are going to respect them, meaning that they're going to come out and they're going to play serious. I mean, I agree with Steph. No team should be coming in saying, "Oh, we can sleepwalk through these guys." You know what I'm saying? But I think the Knicks are going to garner enough respect that it's going to make it tough for them. You know what I'm saying? All season long, they're going to have to be ready to battle.
That's exciting. I hope you're right. What do you think, Ron?
I agree. I may look at it slightly different, but I do agree. I think that the Knicks, if I was Tom Thibodeau and even some of the guys who've been on the team for a longer time period, but they're not that vocal, but I would try to use this to my benefit. I would use the fact that the Eastern Conference has improved and teams have gotten better and give the Knicks that underdog mentality. Because I think what really helped them 2 years ago when they got that 4th seed was the fact that, I mean, right, at that point, no one was really checking for the Knicks, and they snuck up on teams, and they went on that great run and really started to show how they were together. Remember, it was the Big 15 or whatever, you know, they had that mantra, and they just had I really want them to get back to playing basketball together and having fun, but also having a little bit of that chip on their shoulder, knowing that there's teams in the East that you know who the perennial teams are, and then there's these other teams that have gotten better. The Cavaliers have gotten better, and you know some of these other teams have gotten better. So you look at it and say, listen, we know on paper we're kind of outside of these teams, but every night that they come into the Garden or we go into their arena, we're going to show that we're just as good as them. And if we play the right basketball, we will get out of there with a win. That's how the Knicks should think, because they can beat any team on any given night if they play the right basketball. This is where I need Tibbs to kind of really instill that into the way he did that first year, because I think that, as State likes to say, the almighty 4th, I think it was a gift and a curse.
Man,
I think
State crazy. I don't know.
I think
State is off his rocker, bro.
I think for the fans, it was you know, looked at with big big eyes, like, oh, we got the 4th seed, we made the playoffs. From here, we just gonna go up. I think that from that side of it, that was wrong. Some fans kind of looked at it and they jumped out the window. And maybe the Knick organization, the new brass, made a mistake. We talked about it already. You know, getting away from some of the defense we had and try to bring in some more offense, thinking that these players would make up for that because we were so good at playing defense. So, but I think making the 4th seed and making the playoffs was pivotal. I think that really helped the team overall. It gives confidence to these young players, guys like RJ, who and you know, I want to say Randall too. I mean, I think that helped all of them.
I think the learning experience of being in the playoffs did, but they would have had that same experience at any seed. But
right,
you,
but
you know what I mean?
yeah,
So
I don't. But I'm not even talking about just making the playoffs. It's the winning, because remember, RJ was there. If I'm not mistaken, was that first year that RJ was there was a tough year, man.
Right.
So
that was what's the name's year?
Right.
Fizdale.
But that battle, it's crazy because in that year when they got the 4th seed, they went on a tremendous run where they won a bunch of games. Last year they had that tremendous stretch where they lost a lot of games.
Yep.
Right.
That was that point.
So let's see if maybe this year can even it out. I mean, I guess if it evens out, they still end up somewhere around the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
but they understand the importance of it. They understand the importance of what a run can do. You know what I mean? On both sides.
Yeah.
So I definitely say that's a good experience where, now you're saying we got to stop the bleeding now. We can't let this jump from 4 to 8. We can't let this jump from 5 to 10. We got to stop the bleeding. We know what this could become if we don't end this losing streak. So
and I still look at, even with that crazy run where they was losing all these games, 20-point leads and losing games, they still ended up with 37 wins. With D Rose being out for a number of games, the East got better. Hopefully, Jalen Brunson makes a bit. I still have him, around between 41 and 43 wins or something like that. But I'll be happy with that, even if they don't make the playoffs. I will, because I think it'll be a step forward.
No doubt. I'm gonna go to Josh. I'm gonna go to Freezy. I'm gonna end off with Legion of Knicks podcast.
Yeah, so I believe perception matters in the NBA, not just to the fan base, but also the opponents that you play. And I don't think you can sleep on any team in the NBA. Maybe as a fan base, we can look and say, Oklahoma City or Detroit's and the worst teams in the NBA should be easy wins, but I don't think you can do that in the NBA at all. And I don't think the good teams overlook some of the bottom dwellers in the NBA, period. But like I mentioned 2 years ago, I think the perception of the Knicks and teams in general changes throughout the course of the season. In the beginning of the season, you might look at the team way different than you look at them at the All-Star break, post-All-Star break, and going into the playoffs. So I think for the Knicks, I think it could be a good thing. They could have this underdog mentality, use it to fuel them to win some games early on. Particularly RJ Barrett, who we all think he's a dog, right? Fuel his game and fuel the team's game and the leadership in the locker room and help them win some games. And then, throughout the course of the season, we'll see where that takes the team. But I definitely think perception matters when you talk about the teams and their records and things of that nature.
Yeah. Just to piggyback off that real quick. I think it was this past year where they were saying, "Oh, the Knicks got the toughest schedule to start the season." It might have been 2 years ago. I forget which one it was, but they was like, the Knicks got the toughest schedule to start the season, and it was because of the projections coming into preseason. But then by the end of the season, they was like, "Oh, the Knicks got the toughest schedule to end the season," because things started to balance out based off of where teams were at the mid-season compared to where they were projected to be coming into the season. So I that's a good point that you made, Josh. Freezy, what you got for me?
What I would say is this: last season was a bad season. Flush it. Stop dragging dead bodies. Right? There are a number of factors that are going into this season that point to the New York Knicks being a much improved team this year. Right? And so one of them is the system that Tom Thibodeau implemented, where the Knicks were the 7th rated or had the 7th most attempts in the pick and roll, but they were the 28th most efficient, right? So what did the Knicks do? They went out and signed Jalen Brunson, right? The Knicks ran a system but didn't have the players to run it. At one point, they took a shooting guard, small forward off the bench and made him the point guard. They were so destitute with players, right? But they still ran that system. They kept. It's like when you see teams running the football, they don't have a running back, but they keep running the ball, because it makes the offensive line better, and all that stuff. You establish a system, right? Giants fans know this. New York Giants football fans know this. I mean, the Giants are a grease fire. They suck. They sucked for a long time, right? But now they have a guy, you know what I'm saying, that is implementing a system, and you could see the benefits of some of these guys. Like all of a sudden, you start to see Saquon Barkley jerseys around. Like, oh, I love Saquon now. All of a sudden, here's the thing with the Knicks. The Knicks went out and got a guy in the last 2 seasons is comparable in pick and roll possessions and pick and roll conversions. He's comparable to Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, Damian Lillard, Kevin Durant. I'm looking at it right now. I'm going to put a link to what I'm looking at right now. I'll put it in the chat so people won't think I'm just making this up, right? They have a guy that's an efficient pick and roll handler. Now, you were 7th last year, but 28th in efficiency. Now you're bringing in a guy that's top 5 in efficiency and points per possession, and has the highest of those guys that I mentioned. I mentioned Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, Damian Lillard, Kevin Durant. Jalen Brunson in that 2-year stretch has a field goal percentage better than all 5 of those guys in the pick and roll, right? This dude is converting at 54.2%. The GOAT, Steph Curry, shoots 45.5 in pick and roll.
The GOAT.
Now, am I saying that this guy is going to be Steph Curry-esque? No. But what I'm saying is the combination of an established offensive system in place with these kids not changing system from year to year to year. They have year 2 or year 3 in this offensive system, right? So they know this system. Now you get a maestro to go in it. And those kids with the 2 years, the OBs, the Quicklies, the RJs, the ham sandwiches, all of them, they have additional years in this system. So now you have a Jalen Brunson who doesn't have to come here and walk on water. All Jalen Brunson has to do is come here and be himself in that offensive system that's already established. And so you're looking at a team that won 37 games last year with a backup small forward playing point guard for you and injury-prone point guards that you can't depend on. You just add a guy that is efficient, and you, in my opinion, you have the potential to see 2 or 3 things. You have the potential to see this low-end offense. I think they were ranked 24th overall. You have them with the potential to shoot into the top 15, somewhere in there. I'm not saying 6. I'm not saying 13. I'm saying somewhere above the top, in the top 15. Now you have a top 10 defense and a top 15 offense. Where does that get you? You make your own decision. You project your own self where that gets. But the most important thing is the kids that couldn't develop because it was anarchy all over the place gets to develop. They get to develop on a smooth foundation. Now you get to see what Cam Reddish can do. And now you get to see what Quentin Grimes can do in a stable environment when you have a dependable playmaker running the point. And you could still let Randall get his touches, bringing the ball up. You could still let RJ, and I know people don't like it, but what I'm saying is Brunson can play on the ball and off the ball and still be efficient. Your offense can still be efficient. Unlike when Kemba was the point and he was playing off ball, what could Kemba do? Nothing. Right? So all I'm saying is before you get your hopes too high, don't make your hopes too low. Don't think this is going to be a 28-win team.
No.
Right?
No,
Don't shoot too low. What I'm saying is enjoy the ride. Just buckle your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Don't project 55 wins. Don't project 32 wins. Let this thing play out, and let's see these kids develop in an environment that's stable. If you like these kids, and if you want these kids to be the future, and I know I can hear the Whitney Houston playing now. I believe the children are the future. I know what people want to say, right? But my thing is the addition of Brunson. The key addition to this, in my opinion, is Brunson and Hartenstein together, right? Along with these kids, I think the Knicks, if everything can go right, can put together another Week 15 season. right? But the thing is, we have to allow this thing to play out because young kids make mistakes. Y'all know that. Some of us have kids. We see our own kids make mistakes often. You know what I'm saying? You teach them something, they make a mistake. And I'm sorry, Tony, for being long-winded. But the thing is I just wanted to emphasize the fact that this season may not start the way that you wanted it to start. But by the end of it, I think you might be impressed by the way this season ends.
We can all hope for that. Top 15 in offense and defense. I think that'll be a godsend.
Freezy, I wasn't gonna stop you. I just jumped up 10 more viewers while you was talking, and they stayed. So you know, I must be cutting into your time slot. So
Nah, man.
Gmo, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Before I give my formal introduction, let me shout out Eru, who couldn't make it, and also DJ Shuttle, who couldn't make it. So that's those two blank spots I see right there. We would have been the full Avengers, but
the two black spots.
Gmo, thank you for joining me. Legion of Knicks. I don't believe this channel started before you was on the panel here, so I'm sure Sim was inspiration to you as well. But yeah, a day one, man. You was in there in the chat going off. You and Who's Mark was the two guys that I'm hoping it's all right if we disagree. I just hope they don't really disagree, because I'm gonna hear it from one of these two guys if they don't agree with my take. And people love you, bro. And I don't frequent your show as much, but I definitely watch it. And inspiration for sure along the way. I had to give you your flowers because you missed the flower presentation earlier. But yeah, what's your take on the expectation of the Knicks right now and whether it affects them in reality?
Muted.
There you go. Wait, that wasn't you. Yeah, you muted.
Sorry about that. First and foremost, congrats on the show. 1,000 subs, man. That's a beautiful thing. And just real quick, just to give praise to Sim, to Meta. I don't know if you guys know from the chat. Eddie Spears spoke to him yesterday. He shouted you out, Sim. So just to give even more flowers. But yeah, look, the Eastern Conference is no joke now. And we have a team right now, I think it's going to be 40 to 45 wins. Either way, no team is going to take a light on us. If they come to the Garden, everybody's going to try to get theirs at the Garden, right? Cole Anthony last year went off for 29 points. I think it was in front of his mom or something like that. And this is a match. They beat us. They mollywopped us twice last year. One of them being Cole Anthony going off, right? And that's supposed to be a team that we should have beat. It's a Magic, right? A team that's kind of rebuilding young players. And every game, I think they're going to smell blood, right? If everything is good, right, Tom Thibodeau is going to go to what he knows best, which is defense, right? Even last year with guys like Evan Fournier, 11th in defensive rating, 6 in points allowed, we still had I won't say elite, but a top defense. So Tom Thibodeau, if there's anything he's going to do, is he's going to defend night in, night out. Anthony Edwards said this, was it last year, 2 years ago, where he was like, look, the Knicks don't have any individual great players in terms of defensive guys, but he said they're going to work you on every possession. You gotta. They know how to defend. Like he was just saying, like you know how he talks. He just talks like whatever. And he was like, nah, they can play defense. So I don't think that any night. I don't think that we're gonna fall apart to the point where, like Freezy said, we're 28 points. I agree with you. We're not gonna be that bad. And so if we're good, if we're a surprising team, is Jalen Brunson is that guy as a lead point guard. If RJ Barrett and Randall kind of recover from their regressions last year. I mean, we're going to be in the thick of things, and teams are going to want to take us out to take our spot. If we're bad, if they see that chemistry kind of faltering between RJ, Randall, Brunson, or any kind of combination of those two, or excuse me, of those three, they're going to do like what the Grizzlies did last year. They're going to get out here. They're going to bug us out, right? Desmond Bane was being a nuisance last year, talking trash, trying to disrupt Randall, knowing that he's like the weak spot kind of emotionally on this team. That you can take the whole team out of their game because Tom Thibodeau trusts Randall, and Randall is Randall, right? So teams are going to be smelling blood against the Knicks. I don't think Any team is going to take a lot of us. We had years back in the day where we were losing how many games a year, but Kobe Bryant would try to come to the Garden and score 60. Like
that man different though. That man different.
He's different, and everybody, and if you ask these kids nowadays, who are your favorite players? LeBron and Kobe Bryant, and they, everybody wants to look what LeBron did a few years ago when he was a Cleveland Cavaliers. Showing out, taking pictures. Everybody wants to kill to the Garden. Everybody wants to kill the Knicks. So I don't think expectations are going to change. It's all up to us. I don't think we're a 50-win team per se, but you got 3 guys on the starting roster who have to try to find their way, right? You got 3 guys who are trying to prove. They'll have something to prove, right? RJ's trying to prove that they were dumb to consider him in trades, and that maybe if RJ is traded, maybe he's trying to prove to NBA, hey, the Knicks got it wrong. I am that guy. They were just impatient or whatever. Randall's trying to prove that, hey, look, that 2 years ago was a fluke, right? But we all know he ain't really that. So he has to try to find some middle ground between that 2 years ago to all NBA and the average of the rest of his career. And Jalen Brunson's trying to prove that he's a lead point guard, right? 3 guys trying to make it all work, but all trying to prove to themselves, to the league, that they're as good as what they think in their head. And that might spell out to good chemistry, and it might get us to 50 wins. And the blood is going to be out there, or it may be this team doesn't have it together yet. Tom Thibodeau's falling apart just like he did with the Wolves, and that Knicks team is falling apart. Let's get this win. Let's take them out. Let it be that we the guys that made Randall and RJ fight, or Brunson, blah blah. You know what I mean? So the Knicks we always gonna have a target on our back regardless. But yeah, we'll see. I just don't think that no one's gonna take a light on this.
You made a great point about oh man, I just pulled a Ron and lost it. You made a good point. Oh man, I lost it. You know what? That's a sign that
am I up here with old man?
It's a long night. You know what I mean? I'm out of my element. You know what I mean? But
too many emotions. Too many.
That's what happens. That's the 1,000 subscribers. The more subscribers, you start to forget things.
Okay.
Oh man, I had something. It was about. Oh, okay. You said you made a good point about all 3 of these guys have something to prove, but they're also in a rare space that the 3 of them have something to prove, but they're all secure in their contracts. You know what I mean? So very rare do you have a guy that's has something to prove, but is still in the midst of a 4-year contract, a 3-year contract. You know what I mean? So
Beginning of.
Yeah, the beginning of it. So I think that could be also a motivating factor, or something that says, hey, we're here for the long run. We're here for the duration. Let's figure it out now. You know what I mean? So
see, Tony, sorry to cut you. I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you, but
no,
I actually disagree, because I think all those outside of St. Brunson,
it could go either way
for the most part. It could go either way. And it's like RJ's a professional, right? But when your names are in trade talk, when it's the great awakening, right? This team is trying to get good. I don't say quick, but they're trying to get good soon, right? I don't think they're really waiting for RJ to find it. Randall, they know what he is. And none of those guys are signed to max contracts, right? Somebody else might like a RJ Barrett. Somebody else might like a Randall. And I think that it puts the battery in their back where it's like, I gotta be effective, but I gotta try to make this thing work. And I think with RJ, he knows, look, this is a business. Maybe I'm just new into the contract, but I'm not. These people don't look at me as like some untradeable guy.
Oh yeah,
Randall,
when I say secure, I don't mean that they can't get moved. I mean secure financially, that they don't have to worry about a contract. It's not, they're not playing for a contract. You know what I mean? So now they have that, hey, let's figure this out. You know what I mean? Let's figure this out. We all on the same timeline. So we could make this win together and build it, or we could potentially fail together, and then they on a clear slate to rebuilding. You know what I mean?
Hopefully they all kind of understand that if they do it together, they can all excel, right? That's what you got to hope, that they can come to that together. We'll see. I'm hoping. I bring them up all the time. I don't know how many other people do, but I'm really hoping that Rick Brunson really helps a lot with this team, man. I just feel like his presence can help, especially with Julius Randle. We'll see. I also understand that it could go another way with, Jalen being there and Rick Brunson being there and the connection with Tom Thibodeau and Leon Rose. It could go that way as well. You know what I'm saying? Well, guys are like, what's really going on here? But I'm hoping that Rick Brunson's presence in the locker room, the kind of guy that could be straightforward, the kind of guy that's, he's been in Camden working with, high school guys that, he's maybe a little bit more in touch with the younger generation and, what they think, how they feel, how to speak to them and stuff like that. The type of, I don't want to say attitude, but that's the only word I could think of right now. The type of attitude to approach them with, or demeanor, the type of demeanor to approach them with, when they're addressing certain situations. I'm hoping that he has a big impact, because I feel like he's not like Mike Woodson. Mike Woodson has a different style, but there was nobody to replace Mike Woodson when Mike Woodson left. And I feel like he was a big piece of that team, winning those 41 games. Just his presence in the locker room and his ability to address players and be like that fatherly type of figure. I'm hoping that Rick Brunson is more the uncle type of guy that will whoop your ass if you keep messing around.
What about Yashimoto?
And the fact that he's going the fact that he's gonna go at Brunson, his son,
right,
with all this intensity, is probably gonna give him a window to be a little bit more, I don't want to say demonstrative, but stern in what he's saying to everyone else, because y'all not even gonna get it the way younger Brunson's gonna get it.
And hopefully it doesn't become explosive too, though. So but these type of things can go either way.
I think you might need that though. I think you might need that because sometimes you need to give somebody a good punch in the mouth, in the jaw, man. And sometimes that brings you together, because I get what you're trying to say, Sim, with Brunson. I think Randall's a type that he won't respect guys around him unless they're like stars, unless it's like, all right, that's AD. That's, what I mean? And I think that when he looks at these guys on his team, you know how it is, Sim, where you have a talented but petulant dude, right? And no one on the team can fight. He might be the strongest, maybe the biggest, and everybody's kind of like, kind of pussyfooting around, like, oh yeah, hey, Randall. And if you watch those little spurts he had last year, that's how everybody treated him. Oh, yeah, calm down, Randall. You had the playoff game, the whole infamous thing where Rose is looking like, yo, what's wrong with this dude? Like, this guy's bugged out. No one just popped him in the jaw. I'm reading a Blood in the Garden. Great book, by the way. And you hear, obviously, everybody knows about Zay McDaniels, the Oakleys, and all this stuff. And you don't have those enforcers to be like, yo, what's wrong with you? Like they used to get Starks was a wild child back then, but those guys are like, yo, chill that. Like, you don't have that with Randall, so he kind of feels like I could do whatever I want because who's gonna check me? So I'm hoping. Look, we might see RJ one day coming with a broken jaw, a black eye. I'm just saying, I'm hoping one of these dudes, if it gets to that, hopefully Randall gets together, but it may just be they have to fight and hash it out. And Randall might say, okay, I'm acting like an idiot.
But you know what? Though,
I hope it's Rick. Rick.
But the thing about it is Randall is an enforcer, and your team will never. No team wins championships when your enforcer is the star. They don't do it, and then you got to consider who enforces the enforcer, right?
Well,
Randall is that guy for us. When people bumping around, Randall is the dude that go walk up in people's face, and people get frustrated. Yeah, and people get frustrated that Randall is the enforcer and the star. But the thing is, what Knicks fans should be considering is, if the star player is also the enforcer, then who has the enforcer's back? Who's going to enforce for when the enforcer gets sidetracked? You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying about Rick Brunson. That's what I'm saying about Rick. That's what I hope that Rick is. But hey, Tony.
Yes, last words.
Timo been watching Cobra Kai too.
No, I actually haven't. I got to watch it.
Sometimes you got to fight to work out your difference. This season that's on right now. He says he was watching.
I gotta watch. I'm messing up.
Hey, you in the age bracket? It's gonna be a bunch of nostalgia for you. Like as corny as it is, like you're gonna enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like because it's gonna bring you back. I gotta do last words because this when you got a panel this great, anybody say something and it's intriguing to where we could keep going for probably another hour. But I gotta get out of here. I know you guys got things to do. It's late. I appreciate you joining. Any last words before we go? We can start with Josh and go across the board.
Tony, just to well, first, congratulations again, 1,000 subs, big milestone. Like I said, there's going to be a lot more milestones to come, and I'm definitely going to be along for the ride. I just want to add one last thing to that conversation in regards to how much time does Randall, Brunson, and RJ have. I don't think, even though they're content or kind of solid with their contracts, the amount of years that they have left, they're going to get paid X, Y, and Z. I don't think they have a lot of time because the front office doesn't have a lot of time, in my opinion. Neither does Tom Thibodeau, right? And the other people that bought them here. So if God forbid, Knicks start out slow, or this next season and a season after that doesn't go as planned, you might see some of the coach and then possibly front office get fired, and then we're starting that carousel again of rebuilding the organization, trading away Randall, trading away who knows, right? So I think that's also a possibility, and I definitely don't want to see that happen. I want to see the team improve. And last thing I'll say is also congratulations to Worldwide L and Hard Will. They did their 100th episode today. I just was on there showing them their props, so definitely go check out for the Love of the Game podcast. They're doing good work over there.
That's a fact. You got to do a collab.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say before Queens get to say it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for Dope Soul Sports Talk, and let's get her to the milestone.
And for here too, subscribe to all these channels, man.
You know what I mean? Let's get her to that milestone next. And we'll go right to Queen, and then I'm sorry I skipped you, Sim, but we'll go to Queen and then Sim and keep going.
Yeah, I mean, congrats again on the 1,000. And like I said, this is the first of many. I just hope that we have a good season. Like I wasn't here, I wasn't a content creator during that 17-game season, and I'm not sure I can stomach it. So I'm just, hoping that the chemistry is good. Everybody plays off of each other, and that this becomes a stepping stone to the Knicks getting better and better as the season goes on, and this doesn't become the beginning of a reset, with coaching and front office and what have you. Wow. And I'm looking forward to, like I said, the big three, in my opinion: RJ, Randall, and Brunson. And not to say that those other guys aren't important, that Mitch aren't important, but I don't see any of them guys, either due to talent or time on the court, being able to break out for 20, 30 points and really raise the Knicks ceiling. Those three guys have to be the base. And so it's going to be interesting to watch. October 4th, first preseason game. I'm going to be watching it like it's the championship.
Word. It's a fact.
Yeah.
Sam, what you got for it?
Tony, man, first of all, I just want to put this up here. Kerry Cox, he said, all I want to see is Tony's cat walk through with a Knicks collar on.
See, I'm not home, so you might see a cat run by or something, but that's my daughter's cat.
Yeah,
but I will definitely get MJ a Knicks collar and throw some pictures up on Instagram, Ron.
There you go. There you go.
So,
but Tony, man, congrats on the 1K. It's well deserved, man, and I'm looking forward to seeing you eclipse milestone after milestone.
Appreciate you, man.
Definitely a fan of everything that you're doing, without a doubt.
Appreciate it.
Knicks, man, I agree with Steph. And it's up to those three guys. You know what I mean? And they got to get together. We've seen some clips of Brunson and Randall and some other guys, just doing some black ops runs. I know, RJ is doing some other things, but hopefully they can get together and kind of I think they realize that it's, those three guys are kind of the nucleus right now, at least, and that they got to be on the same page and be able to work together. So, Brunson said that he's always been that kind of guy that's naturally stepped up as a leader. So hopefully he can get them together and try to, bridge those gaps and make it work. And I'm gonna be watching that, shoot, I'm gonna be watching it if they have it. The what is it? The blue and white scrimmage. I'm gonna be watching that. Hard, like, yeah, let me see what they're doing. Everything, you know what I mean? So, I'm just
hopefully we get access to one of those practice access. That'd be nice
if they let me in.
And I do have one answer, and I'm out of here. One answer for you, Gmo. You said who's there to watch Randall? I said Rick, but Melo's got that kind of cachet.
Oh my gosh, man, yo! Let Melo go. He's out of here, man.
He can help him. You already know he can help him.
37%.
How didn't I see that? I knew that was like I'm slipping, man. I should have seen that. Did you slow down? Like there's no other plays gonna mention.
So he's shooting his age from 3. Is that what you're saying?
Wow.
Yeah. He is better than his age from 3.
Shoot, so he might be 38% this year. By the end of this year,
He's got 2 open rosters. What they gonna do?
Camp invite. let him earn it.
Man, oh my God, man.
Who's next?
Oh, well, you know what? I'll jump in then. Yeah, man. Tony, once again, thank you for having me. I just appreciate being here with everybody, man. This is it's a great accomplishment, well deserved for you, my brother. I'm just happy to be able to share in the flowers with you. Going forward, man, I just wish nothing but the best for you. And we got to get you a little bit more acclimated to social media, get you out there, man, and start advertising your great show. Like everybody's saying, the milestones, once you get past that first one, the 1,000 is big for a lot of people. Like it means something, but then you can kind of relax and just focus on the content, and these things start to rack up. We got our own milestone we're coming up on as Still Knicks fans very soon, but we'll get there when we get there. But it's like it happens quick. So I appreciate it all, and I'm glad that you are here with us, and I expect it to be more and more. So the other thing I wanted to say is, guys, tune into the NBA Report tomorrow night at 8 p.m. I hope you enjoy the show. I don't know if it's going to be that entertaining for everybody, but I think it's something that needs to be said and talked about. And hopefully I keep everything as cool and calm as possible, because I really want to get into this Robert Sarver thing, but more importantly, the state of the NBA when it comes to how they are running the organization. So I really want to dig into that, and also the use of the N-word, because I got some takes on it. So shout out to everybody. First, I know there's a lot of my brethren that use that word. I'm just, there's nothing against y'all. Don't stop supporting the shows now. I'm just trying to tell you, it might get a little deep. So
I mean, it's a deep.
Jesse Jackson, we got you.
It's a deep subject. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
It's a deep subject. Freezy.
Yeah, just real quick, man. I'm just say this to the fans watching. I know y'all want me to say something really stark and polarizing about the Knicks, but I'm gonna say something real stark and polarizing about the Knicks community. About 5 years ago, like this panel, it used to look just like this, and we used to sit on nothing but Knicks. And I used to have to tell who's Mark to stop yelling at me, and Isaiah to stop sucking his teeth when I talk. I'm like, Isaiah, every time I talk, you start sucking your teeth, man. You start making me, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, who's Mark? Yo, let me just say my thoughts in the chat but at that time, I could never imagine seeing like a Legion of Knicks with almost like 10,000 subscribers, or your Uncle Freezy with like having people every day asking to come on. Like, Uncle Freezy, throw the link in the chat, throw the link in the chat, throw the link in the chat. I would have 5 years ago, I would never have thought that Tony Crow and myself and Legion and a whole bunch of dudes that was just sitting around late night talking to Sim would blossom into like this Knicks community that Knicks fans depend on now. Like if all of us was to stop what we doing right now, just stop. Like if we hit the numbers and hit the Powerball or something, just went on about our lives, Knicks fans will have a void in their life, right? And I know that sounds crazy. But all I'm saying, man, listen. Sometimes we don't agree on a topic. The only thing me and Uncle Fulio really agree on is that during
I like
basketball
the
games,
Knicks.
we gotta drink. We got that might be the only thing that me and Uncle Fulio agree on. Like, well, and I love that dude like with all my heart, man. Love with all my heart, even though he named me, right? But the thing is the thing I want to say to everybody in these chats, man. Man, I love y'all, and I love the fact that y'all show up. And the thing about y'all showing up is the biggest trick I think we could pull is people think that y'all show up for us, but the trick is we showing up for y'all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We showing up for y'all, man. Like this thing, when we look at, because like with me, I don't look at the number counter thing, because even if I got like 8 or 9 people just rocking, I'm like, yo, we got us a little party right here. So I don't look at the number of people in the thing as much as I used to. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like one of the things now is like we are feeling a legit void. So when I saw Tony say, 1,000 subscribers and all that stuff, I knew that day was coming. I just didn't know when. I just didn't know when. Same thing with Queen. Queen is next, man. And shout out to everybody else. Bro, sometimes I talk to Queen, I'm like, damn, this Queen tough as a Waffle House steak. I wish she would just. I wish Queen is like a bulldog, bro. She won't back up none.
Waffle
I
House
like
steak.
I throw a topic out there to Tony and Queen, and they won't back up none. They will not. That must be I don't know if that's a Brooklyn thing or what, but they don't back down from nothing.
Crazy.
Right?
Imagine how hard it was for me to say yes. Well, I said yes immediately about doing the show together. But
Right.
afterwards, I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to hold my own. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I gotta go. No lie. We did a show one time, and I had to go outside and smoke a cigarette. I don't even smoke. I had to go like and Newports is like $20. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody on the panel. 5 or 6 years ago, we never thought we'd be in a spot like this where we actually filled a void for something great as Knicks fandom. Right. And Tony, just real quick, I feel like Nas is the GOAT, but bro, I heard that new Rock Marcy that came out at the end of August, and I'm still listening to the AZ, bro. I ain't saying, but I'm saying
we'll talk about that off air because
No. I just because I got to run. I just want to throw that out there. Thank y'all for having me, man. As usual, it's a pleasure. If y'all ain't listened to that AZ and that Rock Marcy, y'all doing yourselves a disservice, man. I'm out of here. I'll holler at y'all, man.
Okay.
Peace. Appreciate you. Thank you. Gmo, send us home.
Yeah, man. Yo, congrats to all you guys, man. You guys are doing some great things. Congrats on 1,000, Tony. Dope Soul. Great show. That's gonna easily hit 1,000. Is what it is.
200. I need 200.
You're gonna get 1,000. Don't say 200. But
Steph, you got the
get it
cheat
right.
code. I think you started the show with 500 subscribers.
Ron,
Like,
you're not allowed to talk about cheat codes.
Ron too. Great show by Ron too, man. Excellent show. Whenever I can show my love, just been stupidly busy, but whenever I can show my love, at the very least, hit a like, throw a comment in there. So all you guys have been doing great. I'm just excited for the season, man. Don't have anything crazy to say. Like Queen said, the so-called big three is gonna be really interesting. I'm interested to see how those guys respond. Again, I like Fulio said, these guys, to me, I don't think they have a lot of time. I think they got the contracts, but that really means absolutely nothing. Now the pressure's on, and it actually feels good to say that players on the Knicks actually have pressure on, like legitimate pressure. I mean, we went through years of Knox and Frank and Jordan Hills, and it's just like, all right, man, what is this trash? You know what I'm saying? So it's fun to see pressure in terms of, okay, can these guys get it together and win, or we're moving on to something hopefully better. But again, salute to you guys. I'll try to tune in tomorrow to a Ron show. I'm playing ball tomorrow at MS 113. Middle school 113, not the game.
Yeah, hold on then. Hold on.
JHS Junior High School 113 via indoor hoops. I'm saying so.
I was like, as soon as he said it, like, damn, Tony, you just got 1,000 out of here,
no
B.
game. I'm a neutron. I'm a geek. Do not, please don't. I'm just, but so I definitely try to tune in. If not, obviously I'll leave the likes and everything. But Sim, if you have time to come down from DC to get your butt real quick, just come down real quick. If not, it's okay. I'm just trying to make sure
Atlantic City next year.
Oh, come down to the MBK draft party. Get it cocky. Let's go.
The next game.
I saw you play against Isaiah. That little corny base, that little dribble you got to the baseline, like it's so predictable. Anyway, I did a scouting report. It's too easy. It's ridiculous.
I got way more on my tool belt than that. That's just easy to do against Isaiah.
Shalom.
And I will find out what's easy to do with you, and then use that.
We get breaking MBK fam news. We got the matchup.
Yeah, we're talking about it.
Let's go.
Everybody that's here is going to be at the opening night. We're going to be at Legends. We'll have a chance to talk about it.
Oh, Josh, get a chance to see Josh. All right.
And I know you said 4 tickets was left.
Two.
Oh, 2. Well, it might only be 1 because I got a text that one of my peoples want to come. So I'm gonna send him the link and tell him hurry up. We might be gone after tonight. We might have to, figure something out. Else out.
See, look, he waits until I'm like 3 years older after he had his all of that to want to try to play me. He's still in his 30s. I'm approaching my 50s. But that's
okay. You run suicides every day. Like, come on. You don't got no excuse. Like, what I mean? But it's cool. We'll talk later. I had the calf injury and everything. Come on.
I was gonna say, in his defense, I think he was out of commission for like a whole year.
Yeah,
he was.
He
was out. Yeah,
that might be a good thing for Tony because Tony was looking for a challenger, and if Guillermo was ready, that would have been a problem.
Oh yeah. Listen,
Tony's like 5'8".
I stood next to Guillermo before. You know what I mean? Like he shaped like a small Giannis. You know what I mean? Like
why? All right. Now you guys are hype. I'm trying to stay low. I don't. I messed up. You're right. You guys
look like a GI Joe, bro.
No. All right.
Yeah, man, I agree. I tell you about that time I was walking past the South Street Seaport and Guillermo was walking past me. I think he had just played ball or was going to play ball, and I was like, "Yo, that's Guillermo." But I didn't tell him. I ain't a fanboy. I ain't say nothing. I just kept it inside.
All right, Tony. Congrats.
These guys are trying to blow my spot. I definitely the chat. Monday, the show on Monday is really about y'all. I'm gonna have a segment for you guys and figure out how we gonna give away this John Starks shirt. How we gonna get it to you? Tune in Monday. Appreciate you guys for all joining in. I want to shout out Divine, who I may have even forgot to tell him to jump on, and I know he would have, but Divine, Knicks Real Talk, go check him out. Another day one guy. Ron Cleveland, man. Shout out to him. I extended the invitation. I knew it was gonna be a late and a slim chance, but shout out to him for the support as well. And any other MBK fam member, I couldn't have did it without you guys. So appreciate it for sure.
Andy.
Appreciate you.
Andy, International Andy.
Yeah.
And I sent him a link too. But I just knew the time difference was gonna be crazy. Yes, International Andy. Can't forget him. Like I said, Shuttle and Eru State.
And
Isaiah, Big Bubba. He was supposed to be here. I would tell Sim to play his theme song. All right. Yeah, we out of here. Appreciate you guys. And Monday.